flag out of the way here, folks. Come 1 second, go down here and find the right button to push. Hello, 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 everyone. My hair is fuzzy again. My goodness, I just had a shower this morning, so I guess that's part of the problem, isn't it? But I do need to change it around, though. It needs to be the other way. I can't stand it like that. So anyway, no. Good Monday morning to you. Welcome, welcome, and I'm so glad you're here with us today. We're going to have an interesting show again, as we usually do, but obviously I want to start out with a disclaimer. Yes, if you're under 18 years of age, leave this show now. Period. So, having said that, also the opinions expressed here are my own and not those necessarily of any group, agency, department, or whatever, or organization at all. They're simply my opinions, and I'm pretty vocal about those opinions. But anyway, there were some interesting things I saw this morning, and I thought this was really funny. There was a news story I saw over on my Bing news feed, and I'm going to see if I can pull that thing up. So I really wanted to show this because I think it's just so freaking funny. Let me see if I can do it. Hold on a minute. Let me get this out of the way and go share screen over here. We got to take a look at this. You're going to think this is really funny. But anyway, that's one thing I want to talk about. And the other thing is also we have an amazing person stepping in as our national liaison on the action group side of the organization. The activism, the action group side of things are going to bring a lot of capacity building and all that kind of experience and knowledge and motivation and, just getting things done, which I love. The initiative to step in, do things, take things, and make it happen. That's what I love. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So if you don't know that already, well, I'll be honest with you. I can't think of every single thing that needs to take place, and I miss a lot of stuff. And sometimes I may go down a path that is, exclusionary or whatever, and just take running down that one. But I need people who can make sure this thing is going smoothly everywhere. And we have a good team. We're building up a good team now of state directors. And so we've got a lot of that taking place now. Still looking for more people to be state directors. We do have. We need one on the action group side for every state in the nation, as well as our territories and wherever expats might live. So we want to make sure that we're covered in all those things because those state directors is really crucial to how this thing will run, because we have to address issues at the local level and also at the state level and also at the federal level. I mean, we've got to be concerned about all of it and focused on that. And I can't focus on what's happening in, Walla Walla, Washington, as an example. Just, I can't really see all the details there. I probably could, but I would never get a single thing accomplished beyond that. So I need people I can just say, hey, look, tell me what you need right here in this area and tell me what's going on there that may need our help. And that's the biggest thing. I want people who can actually do that. That's what we've got to have. People who are willing to step out there and it's better to ask for, I'll tell it like this. Okay. It's better to ask forgiveness than it is to ask permission sometimes. And for me, basically the way that the operational thing, the way that I kind of think about the philosophy of these kind of things is, you see something that needs to be done. We have to be agile and adaptive enough to take care of it. And we may tweak it or whatever along the way to fit more of a national narrative or whatever, but we've got to make sure that we're addressing the issues at the local level. And if we're not, it doesn't matter what we do at the federal level if you don't have the foundation built upon which to stand. Okay. So you can change everything at the top, but if you don't have the support or you don't have things happening at the local level, well, guess what happens? All that will bubble up from the local level, all the opposition. It comes up from the local level and goes, and then before long, nothing stays consistently the same at the federal level because you don't have a foundation to build it upon. So you've got to have that. And that's why it's so important to have our state directors in place on the action group side. It's so important to have all this stuff taking place so that we have, eyes and ears on the ground, people with skin in the game, right where they are. If you don't have skin in the game in your local area, then you're really just, you really will lose ground fast. And we're witnessing that today in our own country, right here in the U.S. And I know somebody just sent me something. I just heard a beep on my phone, but I'm using the camera on my phone too. So anyway, there's a lot of things going on we want to talk about. So let's jump in. You ready? You ready? First thing is, make sure you're reading this disclaimer at the bottom, that you know that you can reach out to me with that email address that's scrolling right across the bottom now. You can see that. It's there. Use it. Reach out to me. You can call the office phone number, which is that 202 number. And make sure I got the system turned on to answer those calls. Yes. So if you want to make a comment or anything like that on this show that we're in right now, this is a live show being broadcast. What is today's date? This would be September. Lord, I'm way behind. October the 23rd of 2023. And this is Monday, October 23rd, 2023. And here where I live in LA. Just so you know, that actually means Lower Alabama and not Los Angeles. Just to kind of tell you. So yeah, that's what we call it here. I live in Lower Alabama. I live right near the University of Alabama, and right across the river, right across the Black Warrior River in Northport, Alabama, from Tuscaloosa, right beside there. And so it's a beautiful area here. I mean, the sun is out today, or it was. Yeah, it's still out today. The sun is out today. That's good. The sun is out today. I'm going to move my camera just slightly. I need to change that so the reflection is not so bad in my glasses. So anyway, so we've got a lot of stuff to jump into, but obviously the biggest topic will be the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, the horrendous thing that is, and all the bad stuff that it brings about. But before we get into the meat of all of that kind of thing and start talking about it, I did mention a minute ago that we're bringing on board our national liaison. That person is Anara Tabir. So Anara, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. I'm so glad you're here as our national liaison, building out those partnerships, networking, and stuff like that. I'm so glad that we need that. We need somebody who can take that and run with it and actually make things happen at the national level across things in that area, and build our relationship up with across the country here, and also in Canada or wherever else we need to do that. We'll build up those relationships. We make sure that we're moving in the right direction, and then we can find people to connect with wherever we may need, whatever you may Anara might need to accomplish her or their goals across the country. And so I'm looking forward to having Anara on board with us. So Nara, welcome. Thank you. Now, they're not here with us at this particular moment. We've been talking by text messaging and stuff like that all morning today. And I'm just so glad to have them with us. So having said that, now it's time to go share this funny thing. I think this is really funny. I'm not sure if it was meant as satire or not, but it definitely is funny. All right, so I'm going to present a screen here. Hold on a second. No, not that one. I'm going to go up to the window. We're going to go right here. Okay. All right. To all of my conservative friends out there, all the people I know in the conservative space within the United States, if you're really tired of the liberal agenda in the U.S., well, you can consider moving, and there are a couple of places you could actually move to. Now, this is a story I just came across it this morning in reviewing the news feed, and Expatsy. I've never heard of the site. I don't know anything about them. I don't know who Jen Barnett is either, but I want to give proper credit. This came out today, 1 hour ago, from Expatsy. So by Jen Barnett, and the title just drug me in. So all of my conservative friends out there, if you are really tired of the liberal agenda in the United States, then you can consider moving to one of these conservative countries. But first we have to define what it is that you actually think. What is conservatism, the ideology conservatism to you? All right, so let's scroll on down through here. So these are some of the things. It's a common refrain from, I'm going to just read it out loud. This is exactly from this thing from Expatsy. It's a common refrain for Americans to say they'll leave the country if their presidential candidate is bested by an opponent. Sometimes that's followed with a promise to move to Canada specifically, but let's face it, a Republican who isn't happy in the United States will be miserable in Canada. Top issues for Republican voters: low taxes, immigration restriction, abortion restriction, free market capitalism, restrictions on labor unions, gun rights, death penalty. Oh my God, I gotta blow this up. Okay, let me see. You've got to have death penalty, defense spending, law and order, traditional gender roles, restrictions on protections for LGBTQIA people, restrictions on drug use, religious protections, restrictions on affirmative action, anti-welfare, non-universal health care, opposition to climate policy, vaccines not required. Oh, so those were the criteria. And so, I mean, I just think it's just hilarious, y'all. So let's go see what these. Oh, there you go. United Arab Emirates. No income tax unless you renounce your American citizenship. You're still continue to file taxes, but you'll only have to pay taxes on what you earn over the foreign earned income exclusion, which is currently $120,000. Others with income tax-free spots in the world: Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Bahrain. You can read all these things down through here, but Cayman Islands, Brunei, Kuwait, Monaco, Qatar, St. Kitts and Nevis, Western Sahara, which is obviously, they say, disputed territory. Oh my God, I just thought this hilarious. Let me see where else they go. Low taxes, they say that again. Let me go on to the next clip, next spot over here. We're not going to do the commercial for that. The North Sentinel Islands, populated by the Sentinelese, who have fully isolated themselves from outside the populations by force. Unfortunately, that also means you. Other countries that don't allow immigration. Right there you go. If that's your big deal, right there's three, but you can't go there. Oh my God, I think this is hilarious. Let me see. Republic of the Congo, abortion restrictions. Let me see. Other countries where abortion is prohibited. There you go. Angola, Bahamas, Egypt, Haiti, Honduras, Iraq. Oh my God. Philippines, Senegal, and Suriname. Okay, so look, you know where this is going, right? I just think this is hilarious. I do. Let me see. Abortion restrictions in the Congo. Let me go on through some of these. Let's see where else we're headed here. Free market capitalism, Singapore. Let me see. Top one: Switzerland, Ireland, New Zealand, and Luxembourg. There you go. You're right on down the line. Go find you one for that, for free capitalism, free market capitalism, that is, not just free market or free capitalism, whatever. Next thing, the next slide. We're going to skip on over. I think this is hilarious. Restrictions on labor unions. Well, you've got Bangladesh. In addition to those countries in the top 10, these countries received a 5 for having the least worker protections, including the right to unionize. So right there you go, folks. If your big thing is you're anti-union or whatever like that, and you don't think there should be any kind of worker protections, then these are the countries you can go to. Pick one. Just go. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Geez, there's some really interesting ones down through there, right? All right, let's go find the other category to look at here. Hold on. Oh, where are we going? Okay, gun rights. Here we go. In addition to the United States, these countries also guarantee the right to keep and bear arms. There you go, folks. There you go. That's where you can find some other places that have expansive gun rights. All right. Czech Republic, Guatemala, Mexico, Philippines, Switzerland, Ukraine, and Yemen. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So let's go up here. Let's go to the next one. Next category. Oh, death penalty. Okay. China. Amnesty. Okay. This is how many executions were confirmed in 2022. No numbers are known for Afghanistan, North Korea, Syria, or Vietnam. And they're also not known for China, although they estimate executions to be in the thousands. There you go. If capital punishment and death penalty is all good for you, right there you go, folks. There's your place to go. Head out. Want help? Call me. Oh my gosh. This is so freaking funny. Defense spending. Okay, yes. Well, obviously, the United States does that far greater than anybody on the planet. So that's how much we spend on it. As how much of our budget is goes toward that 39%. China at 13, Russia at 4, India at 4, Saudi Arabia at 3. And you can see how much the other countries are spending on this. But yeah, well, I mean, we're really security conscious here. All right, so let me see. Law and order. Long known as a party of law and order, and these countries have the toughest punishments for law-breaking citizens. Here you go. If law and order is your thing, this is it, folks. North Korea, Saudi Arabia, China, Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and the UAE. There you go. Oh my God. And let me see, what about this one? Traditional gender roles. Oh, Afghanistan, definitely. In the United States, a new trend called tradwife refers to young women who harken back to the more traditional gender roles for women of the 1950s, like not working outside the home, being solely responsible for domestic tasks like cooking and cleaning and wearing modest clothing. And those are the 10 countries that have the widest gender gap, okay, according to Global Gender Gap Index 2023 rankings. Afghanistan, Chad, Algeria, Iran, Pakistan, Mali, Democratic Republic of Congo, Oman, Benin, and Guinea. There you go, folks, right there. So if you're really stuck with those traditional gender roles, there's your place. And many of those you also see fall in the other categories that you like to, if you're one of those conservatives who just can't stand the liberal agenda in the United States, right? Okay. Oh my God, let's go on over, see what the next one is over here. Restrictions on protections for LGBTQIA people. Okay. All right. Republicans feel that gay people are dangerous to children and have sought to ban gay events that could be attended by children, like pride parades, drag queen story times. In addition, states like Florida and Texas have removed books about gay people from libraries and prevented teachers from talking about gay families. These are countries where same-sex relationships are prohibited. There's a few of them. Afghanistan, all the way down through Cook Islands, Dominica, Egypt, Ghana. I mean, there's a bunch of countries you don't want to be in if you are in my community, right? Singapore. Well, Singapore's changed a little bit. Some of these countries have changed some here recently, but very slowly. But you also see some of the same ones here that's on the other list, folks. Go find the one that you can actually fit into. All right, let me go back to the top. I don't know what, there's 23. I'm not going to go through all these darn slides. Restrictions on drug use. Let's see what the next one is. Religious protections. Oh, there's some countries for you. A theocracy. And that's basically, Matt Walsh calls himself a theocratic fascist. So he'd fit right into any of those countries right there. But actually, he really wants to reshape the United States in this theocratic fascist image that he has himself. And you don't think that's correct? Go check on his profile page over on the X, Twitter. Go check over there. That's the first 2 words in his Twitter profile, or it was as of last week. Now, I don't know if me putting a big spotlight on it has changed anything or not, but hey, whatever. That's what he had there last week anyway. Theocratic fascism. And actually, it's more like autocratic, authoritarian theocratic fascism is more appropriate. But others in the United States, though, a lot of other organizations don't want to use that term for themselves, like authoritarian theocratic fascism, even though that's what they really are. But they just don't want to. They don't want you to think that's really who they are. But shh, don't tell anybody. Heritage is one of them. I didn't say that out loud. Just so you know, I didn't say that out loud. Heritage, Alliance Defending Freedom, Eagle Forum. Yeah, no, I didn't say that. Don't worry about it. Just I was thinking out loud. Okay, let's go over here. What's the next thing? I'm just going to look at this one. That's a commercial. Man, what is this? Affirmative action? Yeah, we're not going there either. I'm not going to worry about that one. Next. Anti-welfare. Oh, yeah. Let's see how many countries are anti-welfare. Oh, my God, there's a lot. Those countries don't want to help poor people. They don't want to give them a leg up or a hand up or whatever. They don't want to pull them up or help them at all. Oh, my God, you got to be kidding me. You got to take care of the least among you. If you can't do that, well, you're not worthy, are you? And no matter which ideology you follow, shh, don't tell anybody. And we'll get out of it in just a second. Non-universal health care. Oh my God, look at that. Non-universal health care. If your thing is that you can't stand people getting universal health care because you don't think that they're worthy of it or whatever, or that they should pay their own way, even though they have no way of paying their own way, but you know how it goes, right? Right. Anyway, so yeah, matching up all those qualities. There you go. I'm going to stop sharing now and go back over to where I can see you. And you can, well, I can see you. Okay, there, well, me. I'm looking at me actually. So anyway, it's been really, I thought that was really hilarious, that show, that article right there. I'm sure, I know it's satire, but you know what the heck? That is so funny. So if you are, and I'll just repeat this again. So if you are a conservative and you are looking to get away from all these liberals in the United States that have taken over the country as you think they have, well, there are some places you can go. There's an article you can go over there, and what was the title of that thing? Whatever. But anyway, it was fun. It was fun to read through that because it's so freaking funny. Anyway, next topic. Well, obviously we got Project 2025. I don't want to spend a whole heck of a lot of time on that one right at the moment because we've got so much going on with it. Everywhere we go across this country, we're starting to see states do exactly what's required, doing actually everything that's stated out in the policy guidelines within the Project 2025. If you don't believe it, go read the darn thing yourself. Go just watch. Keep your eyes open. Look around, watch. Arkansas is going after some words right there. Yeah, going after some words they don't like across the whole of the state government. Removing those words. And if you thought the book bans were bad, they're taking place across the country too, trying to restrict what people can read or think or say or do. Well, just take the words, certain words that you don't like, and put that on steroids and roll it out as a national program like Project 2025, and then demand essentially that whenever you have an opportunity to run the federal government as a president, if you're conservative and you win in November 2024 and you win the office of the presidency, let's say, and then on January the 20th at noon, you get to stick your hand up in the air, your right hand in the air, and you go, "So help me God." Well, Heritage will have done all the work for you so that you could take a pick from a slate of people that they have trained up in the ways of conservatism and in the ways of limited government, which I have no problem with limited government per se. It's, it needs to be kind of restricted a little bit anyway, but you don't want to roll away every darn thing that's in there just for the sake of rolling it away. And especially if you don't happen to like the words that are used to describe some of those things, because those are the very things that are actually important. Now, all the money in the world is not worth a single thing if you can't take care of and actually represent your people. And so whenever you start putting the money ahead of all the people, well, you've gone a bridge too far there, folks. And yeah, I know what you're going to say. You got to have the money, you got to have the income, you got to have all that stuff in there. But yes, that's true. But your philosophy can't be just solely restricted to just making more money, bringing in more money. Well, what the hell for? If you're not helping people with it, are you helping yourself? Are you hiring new employees? More often than not, you are not. It's just stuck in a bank somewhere for you. And, been there, I know. There's nothing new about that, right? So, but the thing is, though, if your priorities are solely on things other than the people in your country, the people in your states, people in your communities, and you think that you just pull out from under them, pull the rug out from under them, everything that might help lift them up. Try to raise the rug up in the air a little bit. If you do that, you jerk that rug out from under them, you're not going to force them to actually go into doing what you think they ought to be doing. What you're going to do is force them to live where you don't get a chance to see them. You shove them into, that deep, dark closet. And yes, I know that's what you want to do. If you're a conservative over there, I mean, not all, don't get me wrong. I don't mean all. I don't want to apply some stereotypes across the board to a bunch of people. I know a bunch of good people on all sides, everywhere. Well, except there are some things that I will not venture into because it's just, I can't wrap my head around that one. One of them happens to be anti-Semitism, and one of them happens to be racial and ethnic bias or bigotry or hatred. No, you go that route, you're not a friend of mine. Forget that. You don't. I mean, your head's screwed on sideways. Something's wrong. It's not right, folks. Because if you think so less of somebody else, well, actually what it is you're projecting. Because you don't think well of yourself. So you think that everybody else ought to feel the same way about themselves, which is just, come on. That's what I think about it. Anyway, so those things are yours. Well, screw that. Not doing it. So anyway, I don't mind giving people a place to talk about their ideas and things like that. But I'm going to tell you, you don't have the right to impose it on anybody else. But all I can do, since I'm not trying to force my way on anybody either, what I'm trying to do is make sure that you hear the conversation from my side. And that's really what it's all about, right? I just want you to know what's going on within this community. And if you have the heart or the compassion or the sense to understand it and grasp it and to see it for what it is, not as something that's trying to take away and slice up this pie. And if I get a big slice of pie right here, then somebody had to give up some to give to me, right? No, that's not the way human rights are. That's not the way anything is out there that we're asking for, that we're trying to do in this community. We're not asking for more. We're not asking for less. We just want the same. But right now we have the less. But you're going to say you have the less too. And I see that. I know that. You think that we're going after your religious views or your fiscally conservative views or things like that. No, those are yours. Operate within them. Stay where you are. Stay in your lane. I'll stay in mine. How's that? I mean, it's just crazy. I keep looking for comments over here on my corner, but so far there's nobody watching. Well, I don't know if you are or not. I can't. Some sites I can't tell. Really don't have a way of knowing. Let me see who we got here. Nope. So this is, by the way, being broadcast on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Twitch and YouTube and on our website, the Action Group website. Go there, join us, check it out. Let's try to have some fun, have a good conversation, start talking about things to shape and move this world forward. One of the biggest things I want to point out right now is if you're not aware of Project 2025 from the Heritage Foundation, and if you haven't read just the forward by Dr. Kevin Roberts, who's the president of Heritage and of Heritage Action, just read the forward, go into Project 2025. Let me just show you. I want to show you where it is and how to access it, okay? You can actually go to our website. And that says 6 p.m. down there. And I don't know why it says 6 p.m. I got to change that little moniker at the bottom. But anyway, so this is actually at noon Eastern today. And I've been talking for about 30 minutes roughly. So anyway, let me go over and I want to just pull up a slide on let me find what I want to do here. Hold on a minute. Get some banners, change some things. Here, let's put that up there instead. So you can go to that website, folks. Go to that website. Right now, if you'd like, and check it out. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go over there to that, and then we'll check the website from there. We'll go to that Project 2025. You can actually find Project 2025 here. Let me just type this up here. I'll just pull it in for you, and we're going to share the screen because I wanted to go in and touch on a few more things in this. Before we jump into a lot of other stuff too, because this is really horrendous. If you have not seen Project 2025, you need to go do it. Check it out, folks. Check it out. Don't be blindsided by this, or don't think that it's not going to come and bite you in the ass. It will. It will. You can hide all you want from this one, but with $22 million and what, 50 years of pushing this stuff forward, pushing this kind of conservative thinking forward, Heritage Foundation is not somebody you can just ignore, folks. No. They brought together 70 plus people to do this Project 2025 stuff. I'm going to show you right now. Come on in. You got a comment up there in the corner. Let me see what that is before I go doing this. I'm going to go here. Project 2025. I want to share that and that. And I want to go back over now. And, well, we're stopping sharing. Let me stop sharing for a second. I want to see what the comment is. Yay! What's up? How you doing? So anyway, let me go share the screen again. I want to do that. Get back over to Project 2025. And just let's go through more of this. I think we did last week a couple of parts of it. So we're going to do it again right now. So what you're looking at is the front page of Project 2025. You can also find this thing on our website at that www.tdva-ag.com. You can find that there also on our website, because I want people to know about it. I don't want you to think that, oh, it suddenly just snuck out of nowhere and all of a sudden we're no longer allowed to be visible in our own country. Right. That's what this thing is trying to do, folks. Ostensibly, it's about limiting government, but they have a plan to do that. So that's what this thing is. And the policy, if you want to read the actual policy itself, don't go buy the darn book. That's, what is it, $35 or something, around something like that. I don't know, $30. Don't buy the book. Shoot. They've got plenty of money. They put $22 million toward this project, the Project 2025. They've already set it all up. They have a way forward with it. And my gosh. Yeah. So right here. Now this paragraph, this section that you're looking at right now, the policy agenda, in that paragraph is everything that they believe, minus a couple. This book, and just read the PDF. I'll show you where it is in a minute. This book is an invitation for you, the reader. Now, look, the way this is phrased next tells you volumes, speaks volumes to what they actually, this is theocratic fascism views of things, okay? Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, and Miss Smith. That sums up their entire view of family and everything. It's all right there. It's all right there. To come to Washington or support those who can. Our goal is to assemble an army of aligned, vetted, trained, and prepared conservatives to go to work on day one to deconstruct the administrative state. Well, sounds inviting, huh? There's a few choice countries we can send them all to if they really want to go there. If they're tired of this liberal agenda in the United States. But, and they tell you here what it is. This book is a product of more than 400 scholars. And I don't know if they mentioned it in here or not yet, but there's about 75 organizations all joined together to make this happen. And you can go right there and don't buy the book. Let's see what it costs, actually. I'm going to go there and look at it. Oh, it's $35. Yeah. Go there and look at that. Go there. Don't buy the book, though. Let's go back a page and drop that one. And we're going back here and just read the mandate, folks. This thing, all you have to do, this is 920 pages of drivel, okay? But everywhere throughout this book is laced with their theocratic view of things, that it's more important than every darn thing else. You can see that. Their view of the family is the only one that they think is right. And that's the only thing they will define, is that family in a certain way, like, man, woman, and a child or whatever. So that's their view of what the family is. And they're entitled to that view. Don't get me wrong. They're entitled to believe all that they want to. That's fine. As a matter of fact, as a veteran, we serve for their right to do that, to believe what they want, right? And before I say one more thing about it, too, I want to make it very clear. I don't want to hear anyone in our community ever say that these people are anti-American or un-American or not Americans. These people are Americans. They're also our families and friends in many cases. Families and friends and, co-workers and stuff like that. These people are just as American as you and I. So don't ever go down the road of telling somebody that, hey, your views are not American, when in fact they are. Inside America, you've got a multitude of ideological beliefs that underpin this whole country. And it's always been that way. You've got, the conservatives, the liberals, and all this kind of stuff, the independents and Whigs and Tories, labor and, socialism and fascism and neo-Nazism. That's all right here in this darn country of ours, but they have a right to that. And they're just as American as you and I. So having said all that, I want to make it very clear that this document that you're looking at right now, the Mandate for Leadership, a Conservative Promise, this document intends to erase all those distinctions, at least legally. And when you do it legally, you essentially erase all those distinctions publicly in the public square. If you can eliminate all the words that identify the different peoples in this country, once you do that, you have this vanilla white mush across the whole of the land, folks. And it's just not who we are. We need to recognize that there are different Americans in this country. We're not all alike. We don't look alike. We don't believe alike. Our families aren't the same as one from one to another. We have every right to do as we wish in terms of our identities, and yours as a conservative person, if you are. That's your identity. You might not like to use that word, but that's exactly what you have, is you have your identity. And even more than that, by the way, you have intersectional identities. And I know you hate that word intersectional. If you're conservative out there, you're listening in on this, whatever you're doing, you hate the word intersectional, but you as an American, you have multiple intersecting identities, even if you are white. Even if you are Black or Latino or indigenous or any of those things, there are multiple intersecting identities that represent you. And that's just the way it is, folks. And it's just a way of describing it. But if you want to remove those words, all those distinctions, and just kind of whitewash the whole of the land, then you weaken America in doing it. You weaken us as a nation by doing that kind of thing. Yes, it's kind of combative at times between all these different ideologies and beliefs and views and things like that. It's very combative sometimes, lots of times. But you know something, that's just the nature of who we are as a human being, as people, because anytime you get two people together, even though they may sound a lot alike in a lot of things, there are differences that can cause some conflict unless you establish some kind of rules of engagement, right? Whoever writes the rules, either one person or the other, if you don't collaborate on those rules and then have a way to adjust them as things change, government, and that's the premise of self-governance. Well, you'll end up with conflict. But the larger your groups become, the more that challenge grows. Because in doing so, what you're doing is allowing more people to have an input, have say in what actually represents one side. But even within that group, they're still configuring things and trying to figure it all out. But that's just, that's just my way of, I don't know. Maybe it's too wonky for a lot of people. I don't know. But anyway, so we're looking at Mandate for Leadership. And so you can go scrolling down through this darn thing, and it's got all the stuff here at the top. I'm just going to the forward, because the forward is where this lays the image of what this thing does. And I know you've already looked down through here at this, or some of you have anyway, but the forward, written by Dr. Roberts, president of Heritage and Heritage Action. And I mean to tell you, this is just a crazy thing. I still have, for weeks now, I've been stuck on page 4 and 5. There's more to it than just 4 and 5, just so you know. But 4 and 5 is where they start talking about promise number 1. Restore the family, centerpiece of American life. Well, that's promise number 1. And I beat that one to death for weeks now. And I'll be back at it. But this is the one where you actually say, and I've used words like erase and delete and a lot of the email stuff that I send out. Well, Dr. Roberts tells you what he wants to do right here. This starts with deleting. Let me just say, let me see if I can highlight that section right there. And we'll go over to that one. This starts with deleting the terms. Remember when you delete terms, what you do to the people who are behind those terms? Well, you kind of whitewash them. That's what you're doing. So this starts with deleting the term sexual orientation, gender identity, which is known as SOGI. I'm going to stop there a second and tell you why they put SOGI in there. SOGI is the acronym used to define the research and stuff that goes around trying to find out what the social determinants of health are that impact people who have a different sexual orientation than straight, white, and cis. I know they don't like the word cis, but I really don't care if you like it or not. There's no other way to tell, no other way to say that, about your gender lines up with your anatomical sex. That makes you cisgender. Well, but not everyone is. Just so you have to have a way of differentiating that. But they want to erase all of it. But anyway, sexual orientation, gender identity, SOGI field, that's used with the National Institute of Health and all kinds of other organizations that conduct research, including academic research conducted at, say, universities, like here at the University of Alabama. There's research that takes place on that. It's the SOGI, the determinants of health around the SOGI population within the state of Alabama. Every state has a SOGI population, a sexual orientation, gender identity group within their population, within that state or community or whatever. They're there, regardless. I mean, straight and male matching your male identities at birth, that's a sexual orientation and a gender identity. You might not like that, but that's, there was a time when an atom was just an atom. And it was just thought of as the basic unit of all things in the universe until we figured out the atom was made up of, a few other things, protons, neutrons, electrons. And we said, well, that's what an atom consists of. And the whole universe consists of, the proton, neutron, electron. Well, we know that that's not the case either. We learned and adapted, and we've changed things as we gain new knowledge, folks. And we now know that that's not the case, sufficiently defining the universe either, that those things are made up of other things. And going right on down the line, they're there. And, so we learn and adapt. But what they're trying to do with this language here is remove the identifications. It's like going back and telling people there are no electrons, protons, and neutrons. All we're going to deal with today are just the atom as a single construct. That's what they're doing. They're taking the knowledge that we know now and saying, oh, we don't like it. I'm sorry, we're not going to talk about those electrons and protons and neutrons anymore because that's so divisive. So we're going to take it and just kind of make everybody say that the only building block of the universe is an atom. When you start removing these words like sexual orientation, gender identity, things that we have learned over the past past 100 years or so, we've learned those things. We know that there's more beauty in the depth and understanding the whole of humanity and what makes us up, right? We see all those things, but yet they're trying to force this entire population of words that identify us on a better basis. It's like, let me say like this. If we had only one word to describe each of our countries around the world, for America or for the United States, it would be American. For Canada, it's Canadian. British is English or Scottish or Irish or Welsh or whatever. We're taking the whole of all the people within those things and saying that, hey, this is the only way we're ever going to define anybody in the world anymore. Forget about all the nuances of all the differences. That's what this is about, folks. It's removing all those nuances of differences that distinguish us from the rest of, that make us who we are, folks. So if you go out there and you take away, let's say, you can no longer call yourself African American, but it's just American. If you no longer can call yourself somebody from Appalachia, where I grew up, or let's say a cowboy, you can't be a cowboy anymore, or you can't be an Indian anymore, or indigenous anymore. You can't be Jewish. You can't be any of those things, but everybody who is here is just American. And that's true. But that removes all of the flavor that builds up that whole thing that's called America, right? if you start stripping out all these words and these things that have to do with all those differences, then you lose the individual identity and you become more of a corporate identity. And that's really what's going on. They want to take away all of these words from sexual orientation, gender identity, diversity, equity, inclusion, gender. And they're really big on this gender thing. They're going after it in a big way. You got every word that has to do with gender, gender equality, equity, awareness, sensitivity, abortion, reproductive health, and reproductive rights. And they don't stop there. I mean, they basically want to remove everything that makes us unique and lump it all under this one whitewashed term without that uniqueness being visible. That's what they're doing. But they put a comma right there at the end of reproductive rights. And they say, let me blow it up a little bit. And any other term used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights. Now, they could have put a period right at the end of that one. They could have stopped right there, and it would be horrible. Because here's, they're saying deprive Americans of the First Amendment rights. You know what they say? They're saying by that? They're saying that all these other things up here, they don't qualify as distinctions of being an American. They're saying that. They want to whitewash it away, wash it away, turn it all vanilla and yucky, more like, I don't know. There's another way to describe it. But anyway, so they're saying, one, all these other people, all these other differences that make up the whole of America, all the atoms, and within the atoms there's electrons and protons and neutrons. Well, they want to strip away all those protons, neutrons, electrons as identifiers and just lump you in one atom. That's what they're doing with this stuff, folks. And they don't consider anybody who identifies as an electron, proton, neutron, or as, having a different sexual orientation than them, or a different identity, gender identity than them, as being American enough for the First Amendment rights. But they go on. Out of every federal rule, agency, regulation, contract, grant, regulation, and piece of legislation that exists, that is definitive and militant. Well, obviously it is that, because they consider this a whole army of people. They want to go in there and sweep out the government, right? Their words, not mine. And then they go further. They start lumping people together because that's what they've always done. All right. They put pornography manifested today in the omnipresent propagation of transgender ideology and sexualization for children, for instance. Now, let me just stop right there for a second and tell you, where have you seen that kind of thing before? Where have you seen that before? If you know a little bit about the history, back in the 40s and 50s, and all of that, they were really conflating being gay or lesbian with pornography and the sexualization of children. They've been doing this for a long time, only just back then it was after the gays and lesbians, because they didn't know too many people. They'd never heard of transgender people. The term wasn't used then. But people who had different gender identities, okay? Gender dysphoric people. They didn't know about that group and such. They were scared to death of gays. I think the biggest reason they were scared to death of gays was that because most of them some of them were, let me get rid of the most, but some of them were gay anyway, and they were trying to hide. The easiest way to hide is to just go after and attack somebody who you're trying to deny in yourself. That's the obvious thing about it. But anyway, so here we are. We've got this conflation of terms, and they're associating being transgender with, and it's an omnipresent propagation of transgender ideology. And I don't know when I became an ideology, but I never have been an ideology. Have you? My beliefs may encompass that, have an ideological belief system, yes. But being me or being you, we're not inherently ideologies. We just simply are who we are, right? You can take us, or you can take me out of all of those different belief systems and just say, here's Cassandra over right here, but here's all the ideologies that encompass the things that she thinks about and believes in and all those kind of things. You can do that with any person on earth, but you can't say that transgender people are an ideology, because you can, but you'd be stupidly wrong. So But they go right on down the line and they say, it is not a political Gordian. Let me see if I can just do this better right here. Da-da-da-da-da. And this is one of the things that you need to be aware of. So they say it is not a political Gordian knot inextricably binding up desperate claims. And I think this is just, it's well written, but it's academic as hell. I'll tell you. I mean, it's how am I going to describe this? It's more like an attempt at proving your intellectual superiority to use all these words together like this. Because, right, exactly. You know it. I know it. We see it. And they're just trying to say, look at us. We're superior academically. We're superior human beings. We know all this stuff. Right. It's not a political Gordian knot inextricably binding up desperate claims of free speech, property rights, sexual liberation, child welfare. It has no claim to First Amendment protections, as it's right there. It says right there. In other words, transgender people have no claim to First Amendment protection because they've lumped us all in the atom view, the atomic view, without all the electrons, protons, neutrons, and they've lumped us all together in that one very old way of looking at things. And it's wrong. But they don't care because they're lumping us all together anyway. And they want us all to go back to that place where we can all lump everybody into this one big category of people. Okay. But they have no First Amendment protections. Now I'll throw some words out at them. Human beings by nature are Januszian. And one way to say that is that the conservative people pushing all this kind of stuff, it's very two-faced. For me, though, it's like more than just two faces. You could put any number of faces around a totem pole, right? But that's Januszian. You got a front face, a back face. Anyway, I have fun with that. I think it's just so comical, but it's also very dangerous. Because what they're doing now is trying to put the genie back in the bottle. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to shove the genie back in the bottle because, hey, look, when you open the cork up on that bottle and suddenly you see all these different people who actually comprise your communities, who make up America, you see that they're all different. And you go, oh, we got to put the cap back on. Go back in it. Well, you're not going to succeed. What you're going to cause is more conflict, more division and anger and resentment, one American to another, because you are trying to shove the cork back on into the bottle. It's not going to work, folks. You're not going to be able to shove the cork back on and back down onto atomic science either. Nuclear science. You're not going to be able to do that either. We can't just go back and say, well, all of this stuff about the quarks, electrons, neutrons, protons, and all that kind of stuff, and string theory and, relativity and all those ideas that came up. We're not going to shove all that back in a bottle and just say, look, it's just an atom. That's all it is. That's the building block of the universe, atom. That's what God said. We're going to stick to that one. In reality, you look inside, you find out it's much different than that. That's what they're trying to do right here. That's what they're trying to do. Shove the genie or shove the cork back into the bottle. Shove the old genie and everything that represents back into that bottle, and then take the bottle and throw it out to sea because they say, well, we'll just throw it out there with the rest of the bottles and the trash. Right? It's wrong, folks. It really is. It's wrong. It's horribly wrong. It's very dangerous thinking to try to shove back things that have already come out. We see that we're actually made up of all kinds of beautiful things and all kinds of beautiful ways of seeing the world. They're not, every person is unique, and they're unique in ways that you can't even imagine. So, and it's beautiful in every way that you can't even imagine. But if you try to lump them all back together and say, get back in that bottle, come on, go, get back in there, you'll cause more harm than anything in the world. That's the craziest thing you can ever say or do or try to do. So that's why we have to stand up and fight this. We're not going back into that bottle, are we? We're not going to shove ourselves back in there to conform to what everybody else thinks we ought to fit into, because now we know that there are electrons, neutrons, protons, and quarks down in there with them. I think of myself as probably the top quark. No. Somebody else can be the bottom quark if you want. Anyway, with that in mind, let me stop sharing the screen because I still didn't get into everything I want to talk about. You know how that goes, right? You know how it goes. We just have a good time here talking. We see people over here watching. I appreciate everyone who does watch or watches this today or now. If you watch this later, this is a live broadcast that's only available today on October the 23rd, Monday, 2023. And it began at noon Eastern, and we're going to leave at about 1 Eastern. So it's about an hour-long show. And to imagine, we can carry on this conversation for a long time like this, folks. We really can. But we have to find a way to start talking about the power of our uniqueness and the understanding that, we see the world in different ways, but there's beauty in it. Stop trying to shove us down into that bottle again. We're not going there. You cannot put us back into that bottle. Will not happen. Will not happen. With that, I hope you have a great day, a beautiful day. I'll see you tonight or this evening at 6 p.m. Eastern as we continue this conversation, and probably even to say the same thing over and over again. Come on in and join us. I'd love to have the company. If anybody wants to kind of get involved in this conversation directly with me, just let me know. You've got my email address just scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And with that, have a great afternoon, everyone. Got to go check on my car. It's been in the garage over the weekend. Bye.